we are here to congratulate and to commemorate the best team at this tournament from match day 1 against Croatia to today's final against England. The best team bar none. The first team ever to win all 7 games at a Euro. And let's be real, they did it in style. They did it in style. There's a reason why today I have the title as Spain win Euro 2024. Football wins. It's not just Spain who won tonight. Football won. Because the best team that played the best football and excite the most and go out there looking to dominate every single blade of grass, looking to dominate every single second, every single minute, every single half of the game, that team was rewarded with a win today. It doesn't happen often. Sometimes you don't always get rewarded as the best teams. But for me, when the best team actually wins, it makes it all that much sweeter. It restores my feeling in football. The best team won this tournament. Without a doubt. Some people will try and tell you that England were unlucky today. And England showed heart out there. They showed heart. They wanted it. They had their moments as well too. And let's be real. When it comes to moments, no one does it quite like England. It looked like when Cole Palmer scored that goal to make it 1-1 3 minutes after coming on. I can't lie, chat. I'd be lying to you if there wasn't a part of me that started thinking, is it happening again? It couldn't, could it? It couldn't, could it? But football tonight has rewarded the best team at the tournament. So many people to congratulate. Let's start with the coach. De La Fuente becomes the first man ever to win the Euro Under-19s, The first man to win the Euro 19s, the Euro Under-21s, and now the Senior European Champion. And we talk about Gareth Southgate and about all the work that he's done like at the youth level to now get to here. De La Fuente has done the same thing while winning along the way with half the hype, half the noise, and now finally gotten business done for Spain at senior level. So De La Fuente, masterful coaching. To take over this team from where they were under Luis Enrique, pathetically going out of the World Cup against Morocco. Busquets retiring from the national team. Having all these young players that, look, they're very talented, but it's not very easy to win with young players with almost no experience at this level. To do what De La Fuente has done with Spain in this short of a time, massive credit to him. Massive credit. Shout out Rodri, winning player of the tournament. Was he my pick? No. Is he deserved? I think so. I think Rodri is warranting of player of the tournament status. Would he have been my pick? No. But it's not a huge shock in my opinion. He was one of the 3 to 5 best players at this tournament. For me, he was one of the 3 to 5 best players at this tournament. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if Olmo won it, if Lamine Yamal won it, if Fabian Ruiz won it. I wouldn't have been surprised if any of them won. But I can't say that Rodri wasn't a deserving winner. He would have been in my shortlist for that competition, for that award. So Rodri, congratulations to him. And in fact, when he went out in that second half at halftime and Zubimendi came in for him, I can't lie, chat. There was a part of me that was starting to think again, ooh, is it all lining up for England? Is it all just lining up perfectly for them? But it wasn't to be. Zubimendi, I actually thought had a very good cameo today, chat. I can't lie. I thought Zubimendi had an excellent cameo today. Very tidy, very progressive. I thought he was a very good deputy. So shout out to him. Shout out to Dani Olmo, chat. Dani Olmo finishes as one of the 6 top scorers at this tournament. So shout out to him for that. Most of those appearances coming off the bench. But his biggest contribution of this entire tournament, no, it probably wasn't the goal against France, even though it ended up being a winner. No, it wasn't the goal against Germany, even though it was a huge goal. His biggest contribution of that game came in the dying moments when Declan Rice heads it, comes over to Guehi somehow. I can't remember exactly how. Guehi with the goal beckoning, heads it. It seems goal bound. It seems like it's impossible to miss. That goal line clearance. Look, I don't know if it got quoted as correct or not correct, but there was that quote that came out before the game even started. That Dani Olmo quoted himself saying, "I'm going to stop Harry Kane from winning a trophy again." I don't know if that quote was true or not, but if it was, he lived up to it, man. He lived up to he lives his raps, bro. Dani Olmo makes Harry Kane cry again. That's the headline tomorrow. Lamine, you know what? Lamine? You're actually a little lucky today. You're a damn good player. For me, it probably would have been my player of the tournament. And you played a brilliant game. The assist, right? Oh, man. Luke Shaw had played a very good game against Lamine Yamal in the first half. A very good game. Lamine Yamal was, dare I say it, almost nullified in that first half. But Lamine had one moment where he unleashed himself in that second half. A minute in the second half. Finally found a little bit of space that Luke Shaw wasn't paying attention. And boy, this is how you know the great players. The great players are the ones that you give them even an inch and they take a mile. You give Lamine Yamal even a second, even an inch, and he will capitalize on it. And he's the one who created the goal for Nico Williams, man. But Lamine Yamal's a little lucky today, chat. I can't lie, because, bro, 2 times he went through on goal. And they were good saves from Pickford. But Yamal had the opportunity to kill the game today. Twice. And both times when he missed, I can't lie. Again, I kept thinking to myself, are Spain going to regret this? Is this like a lifeline for England to get back into the game? Or is this like a Bayern versus Chelsea 2012 where like you missed this many chances and then they finally capitalized? So Lamine, I can't lie, man. You were my player of the tournament and you played a good game overall. But those 2 chances, oof, you almost gave England a way back in. And the final guy, actually no, I want to shout out 2 guys. Dani Carvajal. Paul, man. For me, actually both fullbacks. Carvajal and Cucurella. Cucurella, right? Cucurella had a tough assignment against Saka. Because Saka, I said it on the eye test. Cucurella is somebody that has historically struggled against Bukayo Saka. Saka has players that he doesn't like playing against, namely Nathan Ake, and he has players that he usually feasts against. And one of them is Cucurella. You could tell that every time they were trying to isolate Cucurella versus Saka. And to be fair, Saka had his number a few times. But I have to say, Cucurella also got his number back a few times as well too. I thought so. Cucurella played him very, very, very aggressive. And Saka's a tough player. But I thought Cucurella, look, it wasn't a perfect game. It's a very tough assignment. But I think he can leave this game with his head held high. And he gets the assist as well too. I can't lie. I thought Oyarzabal was offside on first glance. On naked eye, I thought Oyarzabal was offside. But it was actually John Stones' leg that was just a little forward. But Cucurella, this was his redemption tournament. This was Cucurella's redemption tournament. Anybody in the last 2 years who's talked his shit on Cucurella, and I've been one of them, anybody who's had any doubts about him, making him a meme footballer, he's become one of the biggest memes in the Premier League. Anybody who's ever had something to say about him has to look at the tournament he just had, hold their hands up, and say, my fault, Cucurella. You've just proven why you were rated 16 million at one point. You just earned respect back on your name. Cucurella had a terrific tournament. And for me, a walk into the team of the tournament. A walk. And on the other side, Carvajal. Wow. The dog that this guy has. The heart that this guy has. The engine that this guy has. What a player, man. What a player Dani Carvajal is. Honestly, so underrated for me, right? I'm not going to go as far as saying like this tournament establishes himself as the best right back of all time or the best right back of his generation. No, let's be real, chat. Dani Carvajal is not the best right back of his generation, and he's not the best right back of all time. There are more talented guys than Dani Carvajal. There are more athletic guys than Dani Carvajal. There are guys who create more chances than Dani Carvajal. But I'm sorry, you'll be damn hardened. Like you'll be very, very difficult for you to find a right back with more heart than Dani Carvajal. A right back who leaves it on the line every single time he plays. Every single time the big moment comes for Dani Carvajal, he is there, bro. You will be very hard pressed to find a right back who plays with as much emotion and heart and spirit and leaves it all on the line as Dani Carvajal. So for me, look, man, you can say what you want about the guy. Is he the best right back of all time? Nowhere near for me. Is he the most talented? Nowhere near. Are there going to be ones that I remember more? Absolutely. But man, for me, for somebody who is not as talented as a Trent, he's not as athletic as, I don't know, a Maicon. He's not as technical as a Dani Alves. He's not as good on the ball as a Philip Lahm. But man, no one leaves their heart on the line as much as Dani Carvajal. I love the guy, man. I love the guy. Very, very intelligent player as well, too, man. And then finally, Nico fucking Williams. Lamine got the plaudits this tournament. But Nico, man, has any player's stocks risen in one tournament as much as Nico Williams? What a player. What a player. What a player. Chat, you guys know what players I love to watch. It's not a secret anymore. I don't hide it whatsoever. Nico Williams is one of my favorite players in the world. I could watch this guy play 1,000 times a season and I would never get tired. This is a winger. Get on the ball, look your fullback in the eye, and tell him, allow me to have this dance. Try and contain me. The feet are so quick. The bravery, he wants to take risks. He wants to run behind. He wants to drag his defenders in uncomfortable situations. And one thing of Nico Williams as well too, the kid is two-footed, bro. He'll pop up on the right. He'll pop up on the left. He'll score with his left. He'll score with his right. What a player. What a player. What a performance, man. Honestly, what a performance. Cooked Kyle Walker tonight, bro. Cooked him. Get this guy to Barcelona, man. I'm not a Barca fan. Far from it. Get this guy to Barcelona. Football deserves seeing Nico and Lamine on either side of the wings for both club and country. Barca and Spain, I want to see it. Nico and Lamine. For me, they were the story of Euro 2024. They were the story. When I think back in 20 years, chat, What do I remember about Euro 2024? I'm going to remember the wing pairing of Lamine Yamal on the right and Nico Williams on the left. That's what I'm going to remember. Honestly, they stole this tournament. They brought back wing play single-handedly in this tournament. And Nico, so deserving of his goal. So deserving. If it had been the winner, it would have been so deserving. What a tournament he's had. For me, he had the best performance of the entire tournament. That performance against Italy on match day 2 against Di Lorenzo, that should have been a warning to the rest of the nations in Euro 2024 that this guy means problems, bro. This guy means business. When Nico Williams rolls into town, tell your fullback to get a good night's sleep because he's going to have nightmares the next day. Tell your fullback to get a good night's sleep if he's playing Nico Williams because the next day, he's having nightmares. What a player. And let me say this about Spain, right? I think international football is really difficult to predict, chat, right? Because it's so, every 4 years, every 2 years, so much can change. Who the hell knew who Lamine Yamal was 2 years ago? This kid has burst onto the scene, and he's already maybe one of the best players in the world. Nico Williams as well, too. Everyone knew Iñaki 2 years ago. He's burst onto the scene in the last 2 years. Gavi, Pedri. Like, one thing about Spain, right? I don't want to say that there's like a dynasty in the works because football moves quickly at international level. Everybody was saying after 2018 that France were going to go on to dominate world football for the next 4, 5, 6 tournaments. It's difficult, chat. It's not easy to do. What Spain did in the late 2000s, early 2010s is an anomaly. Honestly, it's why for me, it's the greatest national team of all time. Because the dominance that they kind of withheld for 3 straight tournaments, it's very difficult to do that. So I'm not going to put that pressure on Spain. I don't put that pressure on any national team because it's very, very difficult. But Spain are well equipped to go on a serious run with this team, bro. Pedri, Lamine, Nico Williams, Dani Olmo in 2 years, he's still going to be 28 years old. Pau Cubarsí coming through the ranks. He didn't even make this tournament. Gavi missed this tournament through injury. Alejandro Balde. Let's ignore the last year. Yeah, the year before, he was rightfully being heralded as one of the top left-back prospects in world football. Spain potentially have a very, very strong chance of being like a strong contender at the next few tournaments. Honestly, I don't expect them to go anywhere, to be honest with you, bro. This Spain team is serious. So Spain, man, honestly, there's a serious generation coming through. And let's be real, chat. This is the last time you guys have to hear me say this. I've said it a million times throughout this entire tournament. This tournament was one that was marked by the young players. Every single national team, the rising stars, the young players, the under 21 players, they were the ones that marked this tournament. And I've complained at times that this tournament, its biggest problem was the fact that the elite players didn't hold themselves responsible. But the young players at this tournament have kind of indicated that the future tournaments that we're about to have, yeah, they're about to be serious. So Spain, man, honestly, I'm very happy. And there's a reason why I put not just Spain winning Euro 2024, football won this tournament. Football. Spain were a system of moving parts. Remove one part of the unit and the system functions just as efficiently, if not better. It's low-key facts, Chad. Pedri is removed from the team. Dani Olmo replaces him. Is there a difference in quality? Sure, but not massively. Almost still a very able player. Take Rodri out of the team, bring Zubimendi in. Is there much of a difference in terms of functionality? Not really. Honestly, that's very, very true. What's the expression? Is it the sum of the parts is greater than the whole? Is that the expression? Yeah, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. That's Spain for you, man. That's Spain for you. Do they have the moments? Do they have the star individuals? Were they the team that everybody was looking at the start of this tournament? Absolutely not. Who were the big four that we talked about before a ball was kicked, chat? You had England, you had France, you had Portugal, and you had Germany. And why is that? The reason we had all 4 of those teams was, wow, look at the individuals, bro. If they get everything clicking, France are a problem because you got Mbappe, you got Griezmann, you got Chouameni, you got Saliba, you got Camavinga, you got Dembele. Wow, all these big names. The whole was bigger than the sum of the parts of them, man. The idea of France was better than the actual result. Portugal, they got Bruno, they got Bernardo Silva, they got Rafael Leao, Ruben Diaz at the back, Mendes and Cancelo, Cristiano's last dance. They never got it clicking once at this tournament. Not once. So Spain have just reminded the world that it doesn't matter how many great individuals you have, how well those individuals work together in a fully functioning operational system will always clear having a bunch of big names. It'll always clear it. We got everything out about Spain, right? We got everything about Spain. Congrats to De La Fuente. Congrats to Lamine Yamal. Congrats to Nico Williams. Congrats to Rodri. Yada, 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 yada. Brilliant. They're the best team. Can we be honest about England now? I love when justice is served. Honestly, I love when justice is served. England, right? You're going to hear a lot of conversation. You're going to hear a lot of dialogue on the internet, on radio, on TV about, oh, you have to feel for England here, man. And oh, what a devastating way to lose for England. And oh, that's so heartbreaking for England. And England deserved better. I'm here to tell you right now, chat, that England did not deserve better. England got exactly what was coming for them this entire tournament. The last few days of discourse about the England national team, for me, living in the UK as somebody who's not English, has almost been nauseating in my opinion. Because England at this entire tournament, all the talk hasn't been about how they play. It hasn't been about like the way they play. It's never even been about their performances. It's all this big narrative with England. It's never about football. It's always about narrative. Gareth Southgate's last run. Oh, have we been too harsh on Gareth Southgate? Oh, all these moments, it feels like it's adding up to something. Oh, these players have learned from last time. It's like they're telling a story. It's like we're watching a movie or something like that, chat. With England, it's everything but football. It's anything but football. We never talk about football when we talk about the national team. Anything but. Honestly, the way that the narrative has switched around Gareth Southgate from people that have literally been slandering him relentlessly for the last 6 years because England got through the easiest bracket of the tournament, which everyone predicted them to do. Like everybody, when the bracket was decided for the round of 16 onwards, right? When we found out France were going onto that side and Belgium were going onto that side, and England had to play basically the likes of Austria, Turkey, Netherlands, Romania, Switzerland, Slovakia, Italy. When we saw that bracket, chat, let's be real. All of us looked at the bracket and said this: wow, Southgate got lucky again. Everybody said it. Oh, they got lucky again. Oh, wow, they're going to make another final again. It's going to be just like every other tournament. The fact that they made the final, everybody expected them to do that once the bracket got announced. And yet, when they were winning games and getting to the final, just like we all expected, all of a sudden people started acting like it wasn't supposed to happen. Like, oh, wow, it just feels different this time. How does it feel any different to the last tournament? How does this tournament feel any different to the last tournament, chat? I'll pay someone £1,000 to tell me how this tournament felt any different to last tournament. If anything, they actually played better that tournament. Euro 2021, they performed better than this tournament. It's the same thing with England. Every single tournament for England, England beats every single team that they're supposed to, and the minute they come up against a team that's at their level or better, they lose. Every single time, chat, without fail. Without fail. Which one of Denmark, Slovenia, Serbia, Slovakia, Switzerland, or this sorry-ass Dutch team were England not expected to beat? Which one of them? Tell me, chat. I'm waiting. Which one of those teams that I just named were they not supposed to beat? We all expected them to beat every one of those teams. And if they had played Austria, I would have predicted them to beat them. If they had played Turkey, I would have expected them to beat them. If they had played Italy, I would have expected to beat them. They got lucky. Again, that they had the easiest run to the final handed to them on a plate. And don't tell me, oh, you buy your luck by winning your group. Because Germany and Spain both won their groups and they had to play each other. England, if they had played Germany, they would have lost to them. If they had played France, they would have lost to them. And neither of those teams were even that good. If they had played Portugal, I reckon Portugal would have beaten them, chat. I can't even lie. And I don't rate any of those three teams I just named. Well, Germany, I rate them. The other two, I don't rate them whatsoever. I guarantee you they would have beat for England, bro. The minute England plays against a team that are at their level or better, or coached better than them, all of a sudden, they completely crumble under adversity, bro. They completely crumble. And the thing with England that is so sickening about them, and the reason why I don't care how far Gareth Southgate brings them, I will never care how far he brings them, because he'll never win. And why is the reason? Because the minute that they play an actually serious team, they literally play like the underdogs. They always play like the underdogs. Why do England do this? In fact, when Spain scored after a minute in the second half, I actually started to think to myself, this might be actually good for England, because it actually forces them to come out and play. And that's when England are at their best. This tournament was almost a carbon copy of the last one, except they didn't score first. But honestly, it's the same thing. Just sit back and sit back and sit back and retreat and accept pressure and invite pressure until you get scored on. And then when you get scored on, then you open up and you create and you try making chances and then you score. And the minute you do that, retreat, 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 retreat. That's cowards football. And I'm so happy. I'm over the moon that did not get rewarded tonight with a win. Honestly, it's cowards football. And that's what Gareth Southgate is. Gareth Southgate is a great man. Gareth Southgate is a brilliant man manager. He's a brilliant communicator. He has done a brilliant job of bringing back respect to the England national team since he came in 2016. I will never take that away from him. They've gone further under him, fair enough, than they had under any other manager, bar Sir Alf Ramsey. I hear all of that. But I'm sorry, he is a coward of a football manager. He's not a coward of a man, but as a football manager, this guy is a cowardly football manager. I don't know how you can... I'm not attacking him personally here. As a man, he's a great man, a brilliant communicator, a brilliant role model, a great representative for English football. for his country. But as a football manager, he is woefully out of his depth. And he is a coward of a football manager. I'm sorry, I don't even know how you can dispute this. Every single time, chat, it's like the 5th tournament in a row now that he comes up against a team at his level or better, he consistently sets his team up to be underdogs. Anybody trying to rewrite history about Gareth Southgate is an absolute lunatic, bro. I'm talking about Rory Jennings here, right? Rory Jennings, for the last 3-4 years, has been killing Gareth Southgate. Killing him. In fact, he called him a coward of a man. He talked about his winning record against the top 10 teams in the FIFA rankings. I think it's he won like 3 or 4 out of 30. Rightfully cooking him. And all of a sudden, because he beat he didn't even beat Denmark. He beat Serbia, Slovakia barely, Switzerland barely, and the Dutch barely. All of a sudden, all is forgiven. All of a sudden, all the correct facts you were bringing up are erased. Because England got to a final that everyone expected them to get to. And I'm sorry, people are going to be talking about the fact that everyone expects them to get there is a sign of how things are improving. Chat, England are massive benefactors of the last 2 tournaments of playing in a tournament where 3rd place teams go through. Honestly, UEFA adding 3rd place teams going through has completely killed this tournament, bro. It's completely killed it. And I don't know if in 2026, the World Cup is going to have 3rd place teams as well too. But for me, that is one of the worst rules that has been added into football. I absolutely hate it. It's rewarding losing. Denmark made the next round by drawing 3 games. They didn't win a game at this tournament and they advanced. What the hell are we doing here? This was a carbon copy of the 2018 World Cup, and it was a carbon copy of the 2021 Euros. It was a carbon copy. They got the easiest path. They rightfully advanced far, and the first serious team they played, they lost to. That's the story of England. You want to know the story of Gareth Southgate's tenure with England? It's going as far as you can until you meet someone at your level. That's the story of Gareth Southgate in England. Honestly, right? The first 20 minutes, did England even get a touch of the ball? The way England were getting popped by Spain the first 20 minutes was pathetic. Honestly, it was pathetic. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe what he was watching. We're going to speak on Kane. Don't you worry about that. A team, honestly, that has not played good all tournament. All tournament. I'm not even exaggerating here. Chat, honestly, England were better in 2018 and they were better in 2021. And they were actually better at the last World Cup too than they were at this Euros. For me, I don't care whether they got to the final or not. This was the worst tournament under Gareth Southgate for England. Am I spitting or not, chat? This was the worst tournament that England have played under Gareth Southgate. 2018 was a worse team than this team. A worse collective of players. But England understood who they were better in 2018 than they were this year. England understood themselves as a football team and were more comfortable in their shape and their identity in 2018 than they were under Gareth Southgate this year. That team was not as talented. You had Ashley Young playing left wing back. You had Jordan Henderson with Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard, and they were scoring tons of goals off set pieces, if you remember. John Stones scored 2 against Panama. Maguire scored 1 against Sweden. Kane was crazy at the back post. They actually played better in 2018 with a worse team than they played at this tournament. This tournament, for the amount of talent that England had, was an absolute disgrace performance-wise. Honestly, it was an absolute disgrace tournament-wise. They played 1 good half against the Dutch. They played 20 good minutes against Spain today. And they played about 30 solid minutes against, Switzerland in that game. Other than that, chat, for the quality that England possessed this tournament, it was an absolute farce. It was an absolute farce, man. It was an absolute farce. I can't believe it, chat. They played better in 2018 than they did now. They have Jude, Foden, Saka, and they play worse than the team that had Ali, Lingard, Henderson, Ashley Young. That's mind-blowing to me, chat. And you know what it is, right, chat? They got a lifeline with that Cole Palmer goal. Because let's be real, right? Spain could have been up 3-4-0 at one point. I don't even think I'm exaggerating when I say that. Spain at one point could have easily been 3-4-5-0 against England. The amount of chances that they were creating after that first goal went in, they were creating crazy chances. Lamine should have scored twice. Olmo had a really good chance. They were ripping through England, honestly. And that Cole Palmer goal, right, is a lifeline. It's a lifeline. It's a brilliant move, right? Saka holds up the ball well, gets his team up the pitch, plays it to Jude. Jude first time flick to Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer, brilliant finish back post. It's a great move. It's a great goal, but it's a lifeline. Because honestly, England could have been dead and gone in that game. I was just waiting for that Spain second one. It's a lifeline. And from there, all of a sudden, the England fans rise. The England fans start supporting like crazy. The noise, the atmosphere in the stadium is insane. It's deafening. And all of a sudden, Spain are starting to get shaky. Spain are starting to worry. England are starting to put their foot on the neck. England, after that goal, actually played pretty well for like 5-10 minutes. And then all of a sudden, Chad, it's like they just retreated again. I don't know what it is about England. Is it the manager telling them that? Is it like inherently in them as a nation, as a group of people, to kind of just fall back and retreat the minute that shit gets too techie. Is that what happens with English people? The minute, like 10 minutes after that goal, they just reverted to type. Spain were there to be got at one point with England, bro. England, after the Cole Palmer goal, Spain were there to be got at. I kept telling Sharky, I said, bro, I've said Spain are winning this entire time, but now, after this Cole Palmer goal, it's there to be won. It's there to be won. And Oyarzabal delivers the dagger, man. Who are we going to speak about first, man? Harry Kane just dropped one of the worst performances I have seen by a so-called elite striker. One of the worst tournaments I have seen. This tournament was an absolute disgrace from Harry Kane. If I don't know ball, so be it. So be it. I'll stand on that. I'll stand on that. If I'm chatting shit, if I'm full of shit, I'm full of shit, bro. This tournament exposed every single flaw in Harry Kane's game, bro. Every single one. It exposed the biggest one, which for me is this mythology that Harry Kane is this elite playmaker. Chat, the guy can't move anymore. He can't move. Everybody thought that Harry Kane, because he's such a brilliant passer of the ball in space, that as he got older, his game would age like wine. He'd be able to drop deep into midfield, play as like a more of a number 10. Oh, he doesn't really need speed in his game, so his game will age more gracefully than other players. His game is aging like milk. And right now, after this tournament, the milk is like clotted up. The milk right now, if you shake it in the bottle, you're seeing little curds of milk in there, bro. That's Harry Kane's game right now. His game this tournament has been an absolute disgrace. It's been an absolute disgrace. I don't care how many goals he scored. Honestly, chat, for a so-called elite level striker to get hooked in the 60th minute and no one even blinks an eye because he was that bad, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And I'm so happy that he didn't scam a trophy this tournament. Because there's been years where Kane deserved trophies, honestly. I'm not a hater here. I'm being very honest here. There's been years where Kane deserved trophies. If this had been the one to break his curse, it would have been a joke, man. There's an argument to say he shouldn't have even started this game, honestly. I understand it's a tough decision benching Harry Kane. It's almost more than a footballing decision. Because he's the captain, he's the face of the team, he's the face of the country, he's the golden boy. So I understand it's a lot of pressure dropping Harry Kane. But it was the right decision. Because honestly, this tournament, he's been a hindrance to England. Every single time he's playing, it's like playing with 10 men. He drops into positions you never want to see him in. He's never in the box when you kind of want him to play the ball. He slows down the play. He's unathletic. He doesn't occupy defenses. You know what, chat? And I hope they clip this up. Because everyone says that I'm a massive, massive Erling Haaland hater. Let me say this right now, chat. This tournament, Erling Haaland hasn't kicked a single ball. And I have to be honest, chat. My respect for Erling Haaland has actually gone up from this tournament. And he hasn't even kicked the ball. Honestly, I'm actually going to be a lot less harsh on Erling Haaland this season. You guys know my qualms of Erling Haaland. I'm not really a fan of his game. It's not for me. For what I personally like from a striker, it's not for me. I like strikers who are more involved, who get involved to play, who drop deep, who influence the game, who occupy defenders, who can kind of impact the game outside of the 6-yard box. So for me, Erling Haaland has never really been my cup of tea. But I respect Erling Haaland, to be honest with you, because he understands his limitations. He knows what he's good at, he knows what he's great at, and he knows what he can't do. So even though he'll never be my favorite kind of player in the world, you know what? After this moment, honestly, after this tournament, I can hold my hands up and say, Erling Haaland, you know what? I've been too harsh on you. Because I'd rather the performances Erling Haaland gives than the shit that Harry Kane just served up at this tournament. Honestly. If this is the alternative to Harry Kane camping in to Erling Haaland camping in the box and not getting many touches and really just being a threat when chances are given to him. If that's the alternative to the shit that Harry Kane just served up to us, I'm sorry. I'll take Erling Haaland every single day of the week. I just defined Kane's game. I defined Kane's game 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago. That's not Harry Kane anymore. Harry Kane no longer occupies defenses. Harry Kane no longer is really a threat outside of the 16-yard box unless he has crazy runners on either side. Harry Kane is not really a massive physical presence that can bully defenders. Harry Kane maybe a few years ago was an all-around beast. But this Harry Kane right now, the one that we just got finished watching at this tournament, nah, not for me. Not for me, man. Not for me. He's never, ever, ever in the right place, bro. Everyone keeps saying, where are the chances for Harry Kane? Where are the chances for Harry Kane? How can he survive without chances? Chat, you're only as good as your movement sometimes, chat. And Harry Kane's movement is absolutely atrocious. The guy is never in the right area at the right time. Ever. Ever. How can you create for him if the guy's hanging out at the top of the box? He's holding Declan Rice's hand at times. He's dropping deep and doing 1-2s of John Stones. How can you create for a guy like that? You realize he's the active Golden Boot winner. Ha! Ha! Stats, guys. Stats will be the death of you guys as football fans. Honestly. Blindly following numbers will be the death of you guys as football fans. Great. Congratulations on your Golden Boot, Harry Kane. What a tournament you played. What a tournament. Honestly. I salute you, bro. I tip my hat to you. What a tournament. He's the Golden Boot winner. Who cares what he did? Congratulations, bro. Congratulations. Stats will be the death of you guys, bro. Who else was garbage in this game? There's so many of them. Oh my God. When Southgate hooked Kane, who came on? In all seriousness, I think Kane was bad, but Foden had the worst performance. Well, let's talk about Foden. Foden's another one that, to be honest with you, today in particular, I think this actually might have been Foden's worst performance of the tournament. And that's saying something because he hasn't had a great one. But tonight might have actually been Foden's worst performance of the tournament. Talk about zero impact on the game whatsoever. Zero impact. We'll talk about Walker. We'll get back to him. But Foden literally ghosted today's game. I'm not a stats guy, honestly. I think there's been games where Foden has actually played decent at this Euro and he hasn't scored or assisted. So for me, it's not about the goals or assists. But I have an issue, and it's a big issue that I've had with Mbappe at this Euros, to be honest with you. It's a big issue I had for him against Dortmund. Players that I consider elite level players or top level players that have no impact on the game, and it looks like it doesn't even bother them. It bothers me. Part of the reason that I love Vinicius so much. Vinicius is one of my favorite players to watch in the world. But part of the reason I like him so much is because, chat, he's relentless. He's what I call, let's give them this title. He's a short memory player because he'll make a mistake. He'll go one-on-one against the player and he'll lose it. But he wants it and he asks for it again and he goes again and again and again and again and again. There's never a game where you can look at it and say, and you can accuse Vinicius of being a ghost during a game. You can accuse Vinicius of having a bad game. You can accuse Vinicius of having a horrible game. But you can never accuse Vinicius of ghosting a game because Vinicius always wants the ball. Give it to me. If my team is losing, damn it, you're not going to be able to say that I didn't try my damn best. I might have had a bad game, but you won't be able to look me in the eyes and say I didn't do enough. I love that about Vinicius. Foden today is for me the most disappointing player for England. He wasn't the worst, but for me he's the most disappointing. Honestly, what's the impact you left on the game? You got substituted towards the end of the game. What was your lasting impact on the game before you got subbed off? That's poor, man. That's poor. Honestly, Foden is too talented of a player to be ghosting games like this, bro. Leave an impact. Even if it's a bad one. Even if you lost the ball 50 times. At least we saw you. At least you tried. And I'm not saying Foden didn't try today. Well, I'll say this. He might have tried. Foden didn't leave everything on the line tonight, bro. And I think there's a lot of players for England tonight that won't be able to look themselves in the eye today and say, I did everything I could to win this game. And Foden, for me, is the biggest one of that. Foden did nowhere near enough to win tonight's game. I'm all about players who help your team win the game. For me, the goal, I keep saying it, the goal of every single player on a football pitch is not to score or assist. It's to help their team win. And you can do it in numerous ways. But today, I don't know what Foden did to contribute to his team winning. I don't. So for me, he's the most disappointing. Limited by instructions. Chat, those are some of my least favorite words. Leave the limited to instructions terms for like role players, squad players. Leave that to like the Dani Olmos or the Oyarzabals. Phil Foden should not be a player whose excuse after not doing anything during a game is lack of instruction or, confused. Take games by the scruff of the neck. Make things happen. Kyle Walker, you are so washed. It's unbelievable. I've said it all tournament, bro. Southgate's distrust in Trent playing his actual position on a football pitch will be one of the reasons that holds back England. All this talk about Trent can't defend. Look, Trent's not a great defender. I'll never be one of these people that tries gaslighting you guys that, Trent's actually a better defender than you guys think. Nah, Trent, for me, it's not even he's a bad defender. He's a lazy defender, and that's my issue with him. But Trent, no matter what he gives you defensively, offensively, on the ball, is one of the most dangerous players in any position, let alone his. The threat, the value that Trent gives you on the ball at right back is enough for me to take the risk with his defensive mishaps. Kyle Walker in the past was such an elite recovery defender. He was so tough to beat 1v1 that no matter how poor he was on the ball, you had the ultimate insurance policy going back. But I'm sorry, chat, that insurance policy, if you call that insurance after you get robbed, you're getting hit with a dial, bro. You're getting put on hold. That insurance policy doesn't exist anymore. Kyle Walker just had a horrible tournament. From start to finish. So bad. This should be his last tournament as well, too. He had a horrible season. Facts. Reece James, he'll be back, too. Both of them are better than Kyle Walker. Trent and Reece James are now better than Kyle Walker. That shouldn't be even controversial to say anymore. Who's next? Stones, Guehi. No real actually, Stones, man. I can't lie. I need to see that goal back from Oyarzabal, honestly. It came for me so out of nowhere that I didn't even really get the chance to properly digest that goal. I thought Stones was actually good today. I can't lie. I have to see the goal, the goal again. Did he lose him? Bar the goal, I need to see that back. I thought Stones was good. I thought Guehi was good. Luke Shaw in the first half was sensational. Luke Shaw was England's best player in the first half for me. The best player. But the second half, I don't think he had as good a game. But the first half, honestly, he did as good a job as he could on my man, on Lamine. Van der Vaart, Jude Bellingham is not someone who's there for the smooth touches. He's just a strong lad who keeps going 90 minutes long. The number 10 on his back is debatable. Sure, he can wear a number 10, but for me, he's not a number 10. Well, yeah, no, Bellingham is not a number 10, bro. Bellingham is not a number 10. Let's talk on Bellingham's performance today. When I talk about players who tried to make things happen, I can't say that Jude didn't try to make things happen today. Jude wanted to get on the ball. He was consistently asking for it. He was carrying it forward. He was trying to be dangerous with it. He created a pretty decent chance off that spin that just went wide on his left. I didn't think Jude was bad today. I think the thing with Jude, though, he had the assist as well, too. He was solid. He was probably one of England's better players. But, yeah, I wasn't mad at Jude's performance. I think the thing with Jude, though, is I feel like sometimes he tries doing it all on his own. Like, I do think Jude has, like, this hero savior complex at times. It's kind of like what Gerrard had at times, too. Like, they have this savior complex that they just want to get on the ball and do everything themselves. And when it works out, it looks brilliant. I can't really get at Jude today, to be honest with you, man. I can't really get at Jude. I thought today, to be honest with you, he was probably their most dangerous player. I mean, when you play on this England team, can you blame him for trying to do something on his own? Krosky, here's the thing, right? That's why, to be honest with you, yeah, I can't really blame Jude for wanting to do everything by himself. You know why that is, chat? Because this England team is a moments team. They don't create anything through actually like good play. I mean, the goal, to be fair, is a decently worked goal. That's probably the best goal they scored all tournament. But for the most part, the goals England have been scoring this tournament, the way they've been winning games is by moments. It's by moments. And what did I say when Jude scored that bicycle kick against Slovakia? For me, Jude against Slovakia was awful. He played a horrible game. But that moment made sure that nobody remembered that performance. No one will remember how bad Jude Bellingham played in 20 years. They'll remember that moment that led them on to the next game. But the thing with moments is that they're great when they happen. And they're great when you're winning. But the moment you stop winning, that's when the moments have to have performances behind them. That's when they have to. Jude, I loved when he came out after the Slovakia game and said, oh, a lot of people in our fan base have been like booing us or whatever. That was kind of a response to them. When you're winning, you're allowed to talk that shit. But when you don't win, that's when it comes back to bite you. That's when it comes back to bite you. If England had won the whole tournament playing like that, then you would have had to hold your hands up. But the fact that they didn't means that all the criticism that everybody threw at England all tournament long has been validated. England were getting all touchy all tournament saying, oh, why are people booing us? Like, oh, we're a team that grows into tournaments. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, stay on that side. That only works if you guys win, guys. Everybody who had anything to say about you guys has been validated. So England created less XG at Euro 2024 than Croatia. Fucking hell. England created less XG at Euro 2024 than a team that went out in the group stage and won 0 games. Carragher says exactly, big players didn't turn up. We had about 60% possession until the final because we played average teams. You blame Southgate for some of the best attacking players in Europe not being able to break down average defenses. I think it's a mix of both, to be honest, chat. I can't lie. He's not lying, but I think both the players and the coach have to be blamed here. I think they were both extremely average this tournament. I always say, for me, players are the ones that make the difference at international level. I'm sorry, the tactical restrictions are not enough at international level to be able to consistently blame the coach. I just think he's an average coach. And they could do much better than him. And his methods are very cowardly. But for the most part, I completely agree. The players are the ones that make the difference at international football. Who else do I need to talk about for England? Saka, for me, had an okay game. He was okay. Did well for the goal. I think they should have got the ball up to him a lot more against Cucurella, because I think that was a matchup that England kind of like had an advantage in. Bar that, he was okay. I didn't think Saka was anything to write home about. I actually think, chat, and it hurts me to say this, I thought Kobbie Mainoo had a really poor game. Like, even before he got subbed off, I was saying, yeah, this game is one of the worst ones I've seen Kobbie play. He was just non-existent, to be honest with you, bro. He could not get himself on the ball whatsoever. Look, you guys know how much I love Mainoo, but yeah, this was not a good game for Mainoo whatsoever. And I saw some people saying like it's surprising that he's going out. I thought that substitution was like in the making. The one thing I didn't understand, and to be fair, it worked out at the time because Cole Palmer came on and immediately scored. But Palmer coming on for Mainoo, for me, kind of left England a little late in midfield. I know they dropped Jude deeper, but me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Jude in those positions. But yeah, Mainoo for me had a really quiet game. Really disappointing for Mainoo, because I think he's been really good at this tournament. And I think his introduction to the team actually improved England a lot from that moment. But for me, this was a very poor performance. Declan Rice, meh. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think Declan Rice was great. Won the ball a few times. Rice, this whole tournament for me, I can't lie. Sometimes I feel like I'm being gaslit by Twitter. I thought he had a solid tournament. He had some good moments. He had some okay moments. Like the way I'm reading tweets after, and this is again why for me I'm trying to move away from Twitter. I thought Rice was okay. Like he had a good tournament. That's really it. Look, I mean you can have Cole Palmer. Actually, I can't. It would be disrespectful of me not to talk about Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is another one that I feel like I've been gaslit by Twitter sometimes. Like when I see his performances and I go on Twitter and I see people saying, "Why are people acting like Cole Palmer was that good?" Cole Palmer, every single time he's been called upon, has made a difference for England. He's brought energy. He's brought directness. He's brought an impetus to them. I've liked every single Cole Palmer cameo at this tournament. I've liked every one of them. I'm not saying they've been world-class cameos, but I've liked his introduction every single time. Every time Cole Palmer's come onto the pitch, his job has been to bring speed and energy to England's play. And I think he's done it every time. And the way he took that goal today, exquisite. Big fan of Cole Palmer. And I think he's really made a name for himself at this tournament. It's one thing doing it in the Prem for Chelsea. He had a great season. But I think he's impressed me potentially even more for England this tournament. Honestly, the cameos that he's made, I think people were probably thinking it's a tournament too early for Cole Palmer. How do you get him to the same team of all these world-class left-footed players? He looked at their level for large parts of this tournament, bro. Big up Cole Palmer. Took his goal very, very well. But yeah, man, that's it for me for England, honestly. Deservedly losing in this tournament. I said it from the start, and I was proven right. The minute England were going to play a good team, they would go out. For me, it was a formality. I expected them to go all the way to the final once I found out France were on the other side of the bracket. I literally predicted England go all the way to the final. But I knew that the minute they came up in the final, it didn't matter who they were going to play. Any of those big teams on the other side would have beat England, bro. Any of those teams. Where do they go from here? That's going to be the last thing. Look, England have a lot of talent. And let's be real, they're only going to get better. Because the young players that they're producing, every single year, there's new players coming through the ranks. Mainu and Wharton were the new ones, and Wharton I expect to be playing a lot for England in the next few years. Top player. Palmer bursting onto the scene this tournament. Guehi taking over that spot from Maguire. England have a lot of talent, and don't get it twisted. England will be back in latter stages of tournaments going forward. This is not the last chance they'll ever get. But for me, this has to be Harry Kane's last tournament as a starter. It has to be, for me, probably Kyle Walker. It has to be his last tournament as a starter. John Stones, we'll see how he ages in the next 2 years. Luke Shaw, we'll see how his fitness remains in the next 2 years. But for the most part, a lot of these guys will still be here. And they'll be 2 years better. They'll have better players around them as well, too, because I expect more players to keep being produced. And I hope for England's sake that a new manager will be here as well, too. I think this has to be Gareth Southgate's last tournament. I don't know if he's confirmed it after the press conference now. I don't know if that's going to be an announcement in the next few weeks. But I was hearing people saying, oh, if Gareth Southgate wins this Euros, yeah, I have to admit he should stay on. What? No way, bro. It would have been, honestly, the biggest miracle run if England won this Euros. Because they didn't play well in almost every single game they played in. The Dutch was maybe their best performance, and even that was okay. Gareth Southgate did not deserve to be leading this country for another tournament, in my opinion. And this loss, for me, has just reaffirmed that. In fact, it's just put the cherry on top. It's confirmed he's staying on. That's another tournament no one has to worry about England winning. They will never win a tournament if Gareth Southgate is their manager. Congratulations to Spain. Congratulations to France. Congratulations to Germany. Congratulations to... Who else is going to kind of be coming up these next few years? Congratulations to all those teams. Your chances of winning a tournament just went up a few percentage points because England now are confirmed not winning anything next tournament.